founder, joins us to share how they're celebrating the journey of every female trailblazer. Patty, welcome to Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast.
Thank you, Rick. I'm happy to be here.
Let's start simply by telling me a little bit about the foundation. What's unique about the work you're doing in the community?
We produce heart-centered, thought-provoking events that engage, empower, and educate women and girls of all ages. So it makes us different because most of our events are very, very interactive. We're talking about topics that usually women don't hear about, especially about women in history.
Like, can you give me an example?
Well, we do an event every year called Making Her Story. And what we're doing is we're bringing
I
in.
just got that.
Yeah, right.
I'm a little slow here at Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast. Sorry about that, but I did get it.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
But we bring in women actors to portray the women that have been forgotten, not written in history. You probably know this, that less than 3% of educational materials here in the U.S. include women.
You know, I heard that stat a little earlier today.
Right. And then in world history, women
I was
represent.
shocked by it.
I know. And what's even more shocking is that women represent less than 5%, or I'm sorry, less than 0.5% of history worldwide.
Less than 0.5 of 1%?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that
wow.
crazy?
Yeah, it is crazy.
So young girls and men are growing up not knowing who these women were, the trailblazers, the people who paved the way.
So how do you find out about them?
I do a lot of research.
Right.
And also women, through the years, they've been sending me stories of different women who've done different things. So we try to incorporate them in our program, like Margaret Sanger. Eleanor Roosevelt is one that's pretty well known, but she's done things that people don't realize that she did. She was so instrumental in the whole Roosevelt era.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
So she was a strong partner to Franklin?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just didn't maybe get the credit for some of the things that she was.
That seems to be the problem, is that women didn't get a lot of the credit.
So what's the outcome of these events? What are you finding in the women and children, young ladies who come?
The girls are involved in it too. So the actors get something out of it, but the audience, they learn about who these women were, what they did, how they did it, and why.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the suffrage movement, a lot of women were risking their lives, their reputations, for what? The vote, right? And they didn't think they'd even see that in their own lifetime, but yet they continue to persist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have this piece of history correct. It kind of didn't even dawn on me till I took a family vacation to Washington, D.C. to realize that the Emancipation Proclamation happened before the suffrage movement.
Yes. Right? I know.
You don't even, I mean.
I know. And a lot of people don't know that.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's, I mean, I think it speaks volumes if you just sit and think about that for a second.
Yeah.
And put that in context.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're talking with Patty Turrell. She's the founder of the Women's Journey Foundation. So as the founder, what was it that you saw that said, I need to solve a problem here. There's a need and I can address it.
There is a real need. You might be aware of this as well, that the suicide rate is growing in young girls. The suicide between the ages of 10 and 14 years old.
That I did not know.
And that's from low self-esteem. So we feel when you build confidence in women and girls, they'll make better choices, better life decisions. They'll have the confidence to do the things that they know they can do, or that they'll have the confidence to do the things that they didn't think they could do. And they'll discover their own talents and strengths that they weren't aware of before.
You're not a doctor. You're not playing one here on Critical Mass Radio Show and Podcast. But in your work with these young ladies, is there a sense for why they have lower self-esteem? Is there something?
I think a lot of it is attributed to social media these days. Now, I don't know for a fact.
Okay, we're just talking.
Right.
Experience.
Yes, but we found, and in most of the statistics out there, it'll show that over 70% of girls have low self-esteem.
And you think social media is magnifying that?
I think so. I think so. And this is attributed to body image,
popularity,
socioeconomics,
right.
A lot of stuff is attributed.
Yeah. So if we believe everything we see that everybody else posts on Facebook and other social media about their life, we should probably think again. Right. These are just the
can't take it back.
The highest moments in your vignettes, though, that people post, and like their whole life isn't that moment in time, but that moment in time makes it look like it rocks the world.
Right.
Life's challenging for all of us.
It is, but especially for young girls. It's a tough way.
So, what do you see the organization moving now. How long have you been in?
We've been doing this for 18 years.
What?
We're grassroots.
Right.
Yeah.
Overnight success,
yeah.
huh?
Well, actually, we're 100% volunteer operated.
Okay.
So we rely on volunteers pretty much to do everything that we do. And we find that women gravitate towards what we're doing because they see the benefit.
Mm-hmm.
They see that women are growing more confident when they attend our events. Women are they're communicating with each other more. They're learning from one another. We encourage women to share their personal stories as well, their life experiences, their wisdom.
Mm-hmm. And are you finding that, I mean, there are terms that are now been accepted and understood, like Me Too and others. What impact, if any, is that having on your organization?
We find that women are opening up a lot more now than ever before because of the Me Too movement. They're able to speak freely about what their experiences have been.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that there are also positive stories that women can tell about their past that is inspiring as well?
There's definitely
Not
that.
always the challenge and the resistance.
Right. Yeah, and we encourage women to share those stories too because I think that motivates young girls and it helps them understand that they too can achieve that.
Right.
Yeah, and we bring in role models to talk to our younger girls, astronauts, women firefighters, police officers, women that serve in the military, doctors, teachers. So we want the girls to understand that no matter what they're facing right now, that they too can overcome it.
Yeah, it is. My experience is because I believe in peer learning, and I think it's very powerful for someone to see somebody else who's like them, who's achieved something that they either didn't think was possible for them, or they weren't even aware it was an opportunity.
Right.
They're just ignorant about it,
Right,
And they didn't even know. Well, you mean I could become a pilot?
Right.
And then that may push them off in a whole career.
Exactly.
So over the 15 years,
18 years.
18 years. Okay.
Yeah.
You look so young. I don't know. You're welcome. Over the 18 years, you must have seen young girls who have gone on and partly because of your foundation maybe made an impact.
Yes, yeah. In fact, we have a conference every year in October. It's coming up on October 12th in Irvine.
Okay.
And
For those of you in Orange County, write that
yeah,
down.
and all girls are free. They have a full day of role models. Again, will come and speak to them. We have activities that help them learn about who they are, their strengths and talents. And then we also provide lunch. Usually Mother's Markets provides a really nutritional lunch. We talk about being mindful of the food you're putting into your body. We also talk about cyberbullying and how we can overcome that. We give them tools to help them overcome their insecurities.
And how do they find out about that?
You can go to womensjourneyfoundation.org.
Okay, we're going to ask for that again, but Women's Journey, that's a mouthful. Women's
Journey Foundation.org, yes.
All like that, just all those letters,
Yes.
no punctuation, apostrophes, or any of that
No.
stuff, just all the letters, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Just Google search it
Yes.
and it'll come up. So
Right.
when you started this 18 years ago, did you imagine it would be around this long? I mean, what was the...
Well, it started off with this very small event, women coming together in circles to talk to one another.
Okay.
Just to share stories
Yeah.
and wisdom.
Peer learning, I love
Right,
it.
right. And then that started to grow, and we were pretty impressed with what it was doing for women. And we thought we need to create a program for girls. And then when we did the research, we found out about the 70% having low self-esteem. We thought we could do something with this. So
Did you have a day job when you started doing this?
Yes. Yes, a full-time job at corporate.
Wow. And
Yeah.
so how long were you able to maintain the both before you, I assume you had to make a choice? And
I had to make a choice, and I chose this.
Right, of course.
And it's
And
running a nonprofit is like running a business, and it has its challenges. And when you're 100% volunteer operated, it's even more challenging. But I have so much gratitude for the women and the men who've helped us through the years. They got us our start, and
Do men attend your event?
they do come. They volunteer. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, typically for the girls' event, because we have probably about 30 to 40% of them are from foster care,
Wow.
or from other low-income areas, or from different nonprofits. So we try to limit the number of men because we don't know what the background is for the girls.
Sure.
Some of
You
them
want them
are-
to be in a safe space,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah, but the men come to the women's events. They love them. We've had celebrities come to our events in the past, like Lindsay Wagner, Meredith Baxter, Marianne Williamson, who's running for president now, and
Get out of town.
I know. And we've had Ruth Pointer from the Pointer Sisters.
Right.
Yeah, and they all share their wisdom and their life experience. It's been fantastic.
Is there a Q&A then that goes on with that?
Yeah, yeah.
And I would think that would be a rich time for people to ask. Sometimes people
Definitely.
learn best the questions that they need answered, and by
Yeah.
asking it, they can connect to it.
Yeah, there's a great story with Connie Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
She came to one of our conferences to talk to the girls, and she's had some weight challenges all these years, and she talked about what her own personal challenges have been with her body image, and she connected with the girls, and the girls connected with her. They got it, so it was a really great
It's
moment.
important to be vulnerable and real.
I think that's what we appreciated here at the Women's Journey Foundation, is because when women come and are on stage, they share that level of vulnerability.
Right. And
Yeah.
then even though they've achieved great things, the girls can realize that there's maybe even still some insecurity
Yes.
that they carry with them, right?
Right.
I mean, because getting over insecurity can be a lifelong problem
Yeah,
for people.
yeah.
Because there are triggers that can push it back.
And unless it's addressed, they carry that into their womanhood, then it's even harder to overcome.
Right. Yeah. Because then you're in a relationship, and then maybe with kids, and things get hectic, and life gets tough, and yeah, insecurity can be a lifelong challenge for both men and women.
Yes.
But I can see the role. I wrote a book on unintended consequences. You might have heard of that.
I heard about it.
And so I like to ask. Was there ever a strategic decision, Patty, that you made that there was an unintended consequence? Kind of.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Good. Would you share it with my
I
audience,
would be happy
please?
to.
Thank you.
Well, we do have a board of directors. And so, I come from an HR background, and I always pride myself in, knowing how to read people. And I've made that mistake in the past just because I needed some people on the board that had specific skill sets,
Right.
but they just didn't have the personality fit. So there was some challenges there, and sometimes it can hurt, on a human level. It can hurt
Right.
when it doesn't work out, and people leave and they're angry, they feel misunderstood, So that was a tough one. So I probably lost 4 board members all at once. And so I had to, recruit some more and
How
start
many are
over.
on your board now?
We have about 11 on the board right now.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a good size
We're
board.
looking for more board members. though.
Okay, well, let's put that ask out there, right? Yeah. Is it a reasonable commitment that they're asked to
It is.
maintain?
It
Okay.
is, and it is a commitment. We're a working board, but we get a lot accomplished.
Right. Well, I think that's why I do at least once a month feature nonprofits, because sometimes the hardest thing is to get awareness that your organization exists. And
Yeah.
if we can try to help with the show, sometimes people hear it and they go, well, I'm motivated by that cause, and I'd like to get involved.
Right,
So my hope
right.
is by having you on the show, Patty, something good will come
That would be amazing.
from the live
That'd be
stream
great.
or the podcast later. Can you share with our audience where you go to kind of get outside perspectives and insights on the challenges that you're facing leading your organization?
I rely on other women to teach me things that I don't know. I'll call upon my mentors. I have a mentor who was the founder and president of Human Options, Vivian Kleeklack.
She's been on the show.
She has been on the show. She's amazing. She's always been there to support me, and she's actually on our board.
Okay.
And then another gal is Pat Burns, who's the founder of the Orange County Children's Book Festival.
I'm not familiar with Pat.
You might want to talk to Pat. She's
Okay.
great. She's dynamic. And she was our MC for about 3 or 4 years in the beginning. Yeah.
For the Women's Festival?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So maybe you'll introduce me to Pat.
I would love to introduce you to Pat.
Maybe we'll have her on
Yeah.
a future episode of Critical Mass for Business. So you're the steward of your organization's culture, right? I mean, I
Yes.
think the leader, the executive director, CEO, call him what you will, the top executive. What is your philosophy for how that you're using to build the culture within your organization?
Well, because we are I would consider us a nurturing kind of organization. So for me personally, I practice peace, patience, and kindness every day. I want to be the example of what I want my board to represent. And we want women to feel welcomed and comfortable and supported when they come to our events.
Okay, I love that. So let me ask you, when you said peace, patience, and kindness, it felt like something that you have been working on for a while.
For a long time. Yeah, my husband's a minister,
Okay.
and that's part of what we do in our culture at the church.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so I wanted to make sure that was part of the Women's Journey Foundation culture as well, and it works. And I think that's why the volunteers come back year after year to help, and they practice that as well.
And you have to practice that, right? Because life doesn't always bring out a peaceful outlook, give you
You're going to be
patience,
challenged. You're
and
going to be
make you kind,
challenged.
right?
Right. Yeah, you just have to take a step back and not react. you know.
Easier said than done,
Right,
Patty.
right. I know. I know. But it does, you know, but once you can get in the habit of it, it does become easier.
Because in the peer groups that I lead, two things. One, we've studied emotional intelligence, and a part of emotional intelligence is not only being good in the environment, but understanding your triggers and learning how to cope with things that
Right.
cause you, the monkey brain, the animal part of you, to react before the
Yes.
intelligent, the human part of you
Yes.
says, no, 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 let's just let that blood go back down, and,
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
down where it belongs. And then Marshall Goldsmith, who wrote the foreword for my book, he wrote a book called Triggers, and it was all about how to identify those triggers and then how to create space between the launching event and the response,
Yes.
and how to control yourself in those moments, because
Oh, yeah.
that's the hard part.
You have to look at, why am I feeling this way? Why am I reacting this way?
Right.
You know.
Before you react.
Yes.
Right.
You know, and again, coming from an HR background, I had to be very patient
Right.
and take a step back.
How big was the organization?
I worked for Tricon and for PepsiCo.
Okay, so those are big
Pretty
names.
big ones, yeah.
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 Yeah. I when I ran the manufacturing company Delphi Connection Systems, 700 employees, I had just finished a book from Jack Welch, and he said the right way to structure the executive suite is the CEO is in the middle, and on the right or left is the CFO, and on the left or right on the other side is the executive that's responsible for HR. Kind of those are the two assets of the company,
Right.
and you need to kind of harmonize them.
Definitely.
And in many large organizations, they're not in harmony.
No, they're not.
The
No, they're
finance
not.
side looks at the people side to balance the business issues that
Yes.
they might have.
Exactly.
Right, which has created the current, I think, what we see a lot of times in the corporate world, where there's not a lot of loyalty in
Right.
the corporate world anymore.
Right.
Which is a
Right.
great time for small companies to hire people because they can make a difference in your
Yes.
company.
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to have you back, Patty, in a couple years. What's going to be different for your organization in 3 years or something?
I would like to see more women rise to their potential. But I'd like to, well, my personal goal is to make sure that the Women's Journey Foundation becomes a household name.
Okay.
You know, I want it to be something that's really well known. I want to go nationwide.
Nationwide?
With our, we have a mobile self-esteem program too. We go into low-income areas and work with kids that are really struggling.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to see that happen nationwide.
Are you finding more issues around self-esteem in lower income communities
Yes.
than others? Okay.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Either both parents are working or there's a single parent. Or
Right?
sometimes there's not a parent at all.
Oh, boy. Okay. And if someone would like to find out about your foundation, how do they find you online, Patty Turrell?
We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, but also at our website, womensjourneyfoundation.org.
Well, I met you at a women's organization.
Yes, you
It
did.
was wonderful at the breakfast meeting, and I just wanted to have you on the program to share your mission and vision. Thank you for being a friend of our program.
Thank you for having me.
It's a
Really
pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'd also like to thank our engineer, none other than Paul Roberts, and our three producers without whom we could not do this show each week. They are Joan Park, Crystal Nunley, and our newest producer who's here in the studio, Nicole Terry. If you'd like to connect with me, let's start on LinkedIn. I'm Richard Franzi, spelled Franzi. And until the next show, I hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.